I am a child of the 60s, and there were no astronauts when I was a child. The very first time we sent a man into space was in 1961. I was 10 years old. And it was something that not only captivated the people in the United States, but it captivated the people of the world. The whole politics of that, the fact that the Soviet Union and the United States were in a race to see who could be the first one to put somebody in space and eventually go to the moon, that kind of thing is lost on a 10-year-old child. But the fact that they left the planet, that so captivated me and so fascinated me, I thought I would like to do that. Well, there was no path for that in the 60s. There was no career forward. And as a 10-year-old, you don't actually have control of your own life to a certain extent. So I continued, as the rest of the world did, to watch the next decade as people both in the Soviet Union and in the United States went into space. And I started paying attention, and I thought, well, they are men. So that was out. That was not an option. They were also military fighter pilots. And at the time, that was not an option in the United States. And well, they were engineers. I thought, well, that's something I can do. Let's be an engineer. So the time comes as I get further in my education and I'm ready to go to a university. And the guidance counselor says, well, what would you like to do? And I said, well, I think I'd like to be an engineer so that I can try to be an astronaut. And she looked at me and she said, well, you can't, you're a girl. And I said, well, okay, watch me. And sort of took my life in my own hands and went from there, found an engineering school, went to engineering school, wrote to NASA like many children did, saying, I'm ready, where's my job? And I thought, okay, if I can somehow work with the space agency in any aspect, that is what I would like to do in my life. And so I simply pursued that. I sent my application to NASA as I graduated from university with an engineering degree. And this was now in the 70s. It was the worst time in aerospace in the United States for hiring aerospace engineers. And I was rejected by 27 of the 27 companies I applied for. And eventually NASA sends me a letter saying, well, we're hiring a new engineering class. Would you be interested? And I said yes. And the rest is sort of history. I started applying to the astronaut program when they started accepting applications. And it took me 3 different application rounds to go through before I was eventually accepted. So I just didn't take no for an answer. We were divided into those students that would go on to a university and those that would not go on to a university. And we were offered the advanced placement kind of classes and that kind of thing. But occasionally we were given an elective. And so I did the electives to go into shop. I went down with the people that were not going to go to university and learn to use tools, learn to work with wood, learn to use a screwdriver, learn to do drafting, because it was interesting to me. I'm not a great learner. I have to be motivated and I have to have my curiosity stimulated. And I want to know how things work. I mean, how they get from point A to point B. I have a very OCD kind of relationship with order out of chaos, in a lot of things. And I never had the opportunity to take things apart. But to this day, I want to know what makes them tick. I want to know how the sausage is made. And so if I had an opportunity to get into one of those scenarios where I could observe how the sausage was made, I'm happy. And to this day, it doesn't matter whether it's a scientific thing, whether it's watching behind the scenes as a TV show is being filmed, whether it's watching editing, whether it's watching somebody write a book or make a painting or build something. I'm fascinated by watching it be done. And so any opportunity I could find, to do that, like Tim, I had a passion for flying, anything to get my feet off the ground. And I think that curiosity of, well, let's see, if I do this with the stick, then the airplane does that. That sort of feedback is the thing that stimulated me to learn better.